Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to all our viewers worldwide. I am your host, Renessa Ortiz, and welcome to yet another edition of Good Morning, Tobago. This morning, we have such a dynamic lineup for you, ranging from culinary artistry to agricultural transformation and even a little sunset magic on the water. Our first interview is Mr. Sean McCoon, talking about Tobago AGRITECH Summit. Good morning, Mr. McCoon, and welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Ortiz. Pleasure to be here.
It's always good to have you in studio. You know you're a familiar face to the Tobago Updates family. Now, Sean, what inspired the Tobago AGRITECH Innovation Summit, and why was 2025 chosen as the year to launch it?
Right. So actually, the Tobago AGRITECH Summit had its first installation last year in 2024. This year is the second installment, and we're focusing on our theme, which is a journey to sustainability and food security. One of the things that really drove and inspired the need for this forum and this summit is to really bring to bear Tobago's role in the regional space and the national construct in food security, and also to really shine a light on the importance of our natural environment and all of the things related to it. You have farming, you have fisheries, you have climate resilience, and you have agricultural practices, etc.
Now, you just mentioned climate resilience. Now, I want to know, how does embracing the AGRITECH help Tobago strengthen its food security and the climate resilience that you just spoke about?
Right. So one of the host, or the key host agency through the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, is the Tobago AGRITECH Services Limited, which is TAGS. And their mandate, through their mandate, you have bridging that gap between the use of technology in agriculture and agricultural services for the island. Through this summit, we have important discussions, breakout sessions, as well as many rooms that will focus primarily on how to go about bridging the gap between use of technology in agriculture, agricultural practices, as well as sustainable ways in using climate-smart technology for food production.
And that is really interesting because we are talking about the SDGs and ensuring that we are aligned with some of these SDGs and ensuring that this is implemented in the Tobago space, especially in the agricultural sector, gives us that edge, gives us that opportunity to really branch out and be able to market ourselves on a regional scale and maybe even internationally. Now, attendees will be exposed to topics such as the shade house farming, sustainable honey production, composting, and seed banking. I want to know, which of these innovations are you most excited about and why?
I am particularly excited on the shade house farming and even some of these things on honey production, etc. Reason being is that you can now develop new products, goods and services from right here within the Tobago space that are export worthy, that can actually look at markets regionally, that can look at markets internationally. And when it is we have goods, products and services that are nature-based or come from the agricultural sector, you now find that we are tapping into resources or green spaces, etc., and also on natural resources with a view of bringing much needed revenue and bringing much needed investment to the island. So from that angle, there is a significant amount of value added to this space through this forum, and really, again, shining a light on the importance of tapping into the agricultural sector, blending and fusing things with the technological realm and technological advancements that the world is embracing, and also becoming more climate resilient and utilizing that climate change adaptation mechanism for which the world is moving in a direction.
All of this sounds very exciting. Now, I know over the years, the giant African snail has been something that has been pesting farmers. Now, I want to know, why was it so important that the giant African snail management was something that you all included within this entire summit? Why was it so important that you all ensured that this was part of the summit this year?
Right. So in the planning and execution of this year's summit, we thought that we needed to also highlight the fact that pest management and pest control is quite important. Reason being, it is a problem plaguing the island, especially in the west of the island and southwest. And it is in fact something that farmers and people who are agricultural practitioners have to treat with on a daily basis. So you would find that if it is we enable people to know what the mechanisms of prevention are, and we know how pest control can go, and we have all of the necessary information, it can also assist within the national space in coming up with useful tools and mechanisms, and, you know, inspire further discussion on how we can come up with methods to remedy the problem, or if not, effective control of it. So that is why it was actually included this year, because pest control and pest management is something that we must look at with a view of ensuring that our farmers and their crops and what it is they're producing is protected.
Awesome. That is really good to hear. Now, the cocoa and the coconut have deep cultural roots here in Tobago. How does the summit plan to modernize and sustain these industries for future generations?
Right. So through the summit, what you would find is that many discussions, as you said, on cocoa and coconut production. Cocoa production runs deep. As you said, it actually has cultural roots, based on cultural roots and cultural heritage right here in Tobago. And we are no stranger to cocoa products, right? I think in 2022, an expedition was led to Grenada, and from that, many takeaways were had, which looked at scaling up the downstream economic activities that can be had through the cocoa production as well as coconut. You have other downstream economic activities. So one of the things that we wanted to highlight was the value-added products that can come from these two things, cocoa and coconut, and repurposing, you know, existing lands, repurposing state lands, and repurposing estates, and also other areas that were, you know, once previously known as cocoa estates, with, you know, existing land space that can facilitate that sort of production and benefit the island and benefit the national construct in the long run.
Awesome, great. So now many farmers rely on traditional wisdom in the ways that they cultivate their crops, or they go about tending to them. How does the summit plan to bridge the traditional methods with modern technologies without disregarding the heritage practices?
Right. So, you know, the wisdom of the elders is a blessed thing, and you cannot discard their wisdom. Certainly, through the summit, what we're aiming to do and what we're aiming to achieve as well is take the traditional methodologies and show how it actually assists with that intersection point, or having a vibrant agricultural industry and a productive agricultural industry, by really finding that intersection point between the traditional methods of farming and the methods of old with the technology. So there is actually a lot of value with the traditional farming, and there is a lot of value that can be had. Yes, some of the things, you know, you would have to regulate depending on the location that you're doing a particular crop, on the type of crop that you're doing, and, you know, the type of soil, etc. But generally speaking, there is a need for that, and this forum seeks to really bridge that gap effectively.
And it's always interesting to see how the new and the old comes together to ensure that we continue in the way of progress. Now, finally, how can the average Tobagonian, not just those in agriculture, benefit from a more technological, advanced, sustainable food system?
Right. So, food security and food sovereignty is one of the pillars of any developing society or developing state. And when Tobago becomes more climate resilient, it actually contributes to how well organized our food systems and our food production systems would become. I see this as the way of the future. It gives Tobago a great opportunity to really become a standard bearer in terms of utilizing technology and bridging that gap, as I said before, the old and the new, and finding a mechanism whereby we can put all of our resources together, put all our expertise, because you have people from a number of various walks of life that are into agriculture, that are into farming, that are into crop production. And because of that, you need to find a way to include the technology in that. So when it is people look at Tobago, they see a wonderful glowing example of what a small island developing state can achieve with climate smart agriculture, with climate resilient food production systems. So indeed, Tobago is well poised through this summit. And, you know, we will get there step by step, and it's a step in the right direction. Certainly, I am quite pleased to be part of this initiative for the second year, 2025, and we look forward to welcoming you and, of course, members of the media to, you know, see what we are doing. We have some lovely exhibitors from Trinidad. We have some from right here in Tobago. We have the special purpose companies under the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development displaying. You have TADCO, you have TAGS, you have TARI, you have Tobago Reforestation, which I'm very proud to be the program manager of. So you have a number and a great spread of information that you can access. So certainly this AgriTech Summit 2025 promises to be quite, you know, exhilarating, if that is a fitting description.
Thank you so much, Sean, this morning for the incredible insights about our agriculture. Agriculture may be one of our oldest industries, but clearly its future is very bright here in Tobago. Thank you, Sean, for enlightening us. Coming up next, we lighten the mood just a bit and we go to talk about THTI's, their 4-series segment where they take us around the world. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.